Back here in the back, yes.
So
I can hear you, I'll just repeat it.
I'm curious about, in terms of your healthcare plan,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
talk about two ways of paying for it. One being you're repealing the Bush tax cut.
Yes.
And the other, you just sort of say generally healthcare reform. Can you talk a little bit more about that, how you're going to get money out of that?
Sure, glad to. Basically what she's saying is in paying for your health care plan, you talk about repealing, for those of you who don't know, the primary funding source for my universal health care proposal is getting rid of Bush's tax cuts for people who make over $200,000 a year. She obviously knows that. And then I also talk about the savings that are generated. There's about $120 to $130 billion system-wide that can be saved. The savings mechanisms, there are a bunch of them, but I'll go through some of the bigger ones. The way the system works is everybody in America can choose between a private plan or a government plan. The government plan is essentially Medicare plus. For the private plan, we cap the amount the insurance companies can charge for profit and overhead. Today they charge as much as 40+%. It's capped at 15%. That's one cost saving mechanism. We require the use of technology, electronic record keeping. There's some creative ways to bring down the cost of prescription drugs in Medicare using the power of the government to negotiate better prices. Also, instead of having this patent system that we have today, what happens with the drug patent system in America, and a lot of you may know this already, is the drug companies get a monopoly because they develop the drug, but what they do, they figured out how to game the system. They develop Me Too drugs that are very similar to the original drug, and it effectively extends their patent, extends their monopoly. It keeps anybody else from getting in the market, and it keeps the cost way up here. So what we'll do instead, especially for a particular drug, is pay them a cash amount for having developed the drug, but not give them a patent and a monopoly, so that we get cheaper drugs on the market more quickly. For people with chronic disease, we're going to have what I would describe as a medical home, so that if you have an ongoing problem that you're going to have for the rest of your life, there's one person that you will deal with who will coordinate your care. And what that is huge cost savings, because you don't have this overlap in care. These people get actually the care they need, but it's much more efficient than it otherwise would be. There are other things, but those are sort of the big things that we do to save money. And the independent health economists have said this will save somewhere in the 120 to 130 billion a year range. That's the proposal.